Okay, friends, good evening. So today we will learn, how friction is playing a role, a very important role in the motion. That is, you see, when I am walking, what is the role of friction? I think that already I have explained. Now, in a moving vehicle, okay, it can be a cycle or the car or any moving vehicle. What is the role of friction? In fact, without friction, you see, no vehicle could have moved on the road. You understand? But yes, friction is a necessary evil. Okay? You will understand that now. All of you are answered. Listen. Okay? Now, as far as the walk is concerned, that is, you see, when I am walking, right? So, so here you see when I am walking, I am, my feet, if you see my feet is trying to go like this. I hope you are able to see the arrow here.
Yes,
See,
yes,
this feet is support and this feet is trying to go like this. That means at this point, this is the ground. At this point, there is a relative motion. Relative motion between the feet and the ground. Got it? So the feet is trying to go like this. Feet. Okay? And the ground is at rest. So as the feet is trying to go like this, the friction between the feet and the ground, the friction is in this direction. I suppose all of you got this.
yes, sir.
Okay, and that is why we are able to move. Okay, that is one important thing. Now this apart, all of you aram se learn. If you have simple doubt also, you immediately stop me and ask. Okay, please. But when I pause only, you stop and ask. But when I am talking, you don't ask. Hello. Now the same thing you apply to the wheels of the vehicle. Say now there's a bus which is moving. It has wheels. Okay, it has wheels. Now, as you can see, the wheel of the bus is rotating like this.
Yes,
Correct? Wheel of the bus. Now, same logic here. You apply whatever you saw here, the same logic here. The wheel is trying to go like this. You got it? So, here is the contact point. What is this? Contact point. Please understand this very carefully. Contact point. Now, contact point, that means only one point of the wheel is touching the earth. Now, you understand this very carefully. The wheel is rotating like this. For a very short instance of time, a point P of the wheel is touching the ground. Point P of the wheel is touching the ground. And with the help of that support, the wheel is rotating. Got it? Now, let me tell you one thing. No relative motion between wheel and ground. Do you appreciate that?
Yes, sir.
See, there is relative motion of the bus with respect to ground. But the relative motion of the wheel with respect to ground is the relative motion of the wheel with respect to ground at this point is not there. You understand?
Yes.
But if you take any point of the wheel, what did I say? Any point of the wheel other than this point, they are having relative motion with respect to ground. Do you appreciate that, all of you? See, if you have confusion, you ask me, because don't take it home and say, okay, I will analyze and find. You may misinterpret it. You may misunderstand. Please, and that will be very costly to you. So my dear students, I want you to be perfect in the class. Okay, right. So did you understand this point? At some instant of time t, this point P is touching the earth. Now, as you see, at that time, this point is at rest. Instantly this point is at rest with respect to ground. And see, I told you, any point, I told you is in relative motion. Is it right? See, at an instant of time, if I say every other point is not at rest with respect to ground, am I right in telling that?
No, sir.
I am not right. You please appreciate. For motion to happen, you must give time interval delta t.
Interval. Yes, sir.
If I say at an instant of time t, you see, with respect to every point is at rest only. Understand?
Yes. Yes.
Motion will always take place in interval of time. You please be clear about it. Velocity at a particular instant of time. Yes. Okay. But if you say the body is moving, then you should allow this time interval. Okay. So don't have that confusion. So simply if I tell at some point this point is at rest with respect to ground, all other points are moving with respect to ground, then you should have told me, sir, how is it possible? You understand? You should think, right? But what I am trying to tell you here is, so instantly at that instant of time, this point is at rest. Okay? Hello?
Yes, yes, sir.
Now, with respect to ground, if you take any point on the wheel, with respect to ground I am telling, not with respect to this point. With respect to ground, if you take, that is, if you take this coordinate axis, you see every point in this bus is in motion. Okay, every point in the bus is in motion. Okay, so you have to have that clarity before your mind. That means now, see, if the bus is moving with velocity v, then every point is moving with velocity v with respect to this axis.
Yes.
But what is important here is, at this point, this wheel is rotating. You please appreciate. The wheel is rotating. But every other point, see, are these points rotating? They are only having translatory motion.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
every point is having translatory motion. Now, I will take this wheel separator and just take this wheel separator. Only wheel and ground. Now, if you take, and the wheel is rotating like this. Now, if you take this point on the wheel, 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 this point, every point on the wheel. Okay, because the bus is moving with velocity v. What about these points on the wheel? Are they at rest? Are they in motion? The wheel is rotating. Come on, use your common sense and tell me. The wheel is rotating. The wheel, see here, assume that my hand is the wheel. The wheel is rotating and the bus is moving. So what have you got to say about these points on the wheel? Come on, think and tell me.
Very motion.
They are in motion. Correct. Good. Somebody told they are in motion. I am very happy. See, you make some sensible statement. It is accepted. Okay. Yes, they are in motion. Now I will ask you what type of motion. Is it?
Translative motion.
Yes. Somebody said it is translative motion. Okay. Yes. Everybody will say translative motion only, or somebody wants to add or subtract something.
Sir, it is also under rotational.
Good. It is also under rotational motion. That is a good answer. Okay, friends. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, can somebody? Yes, please.
Sir, but you had said that the points can only have a translative motion.
Pardon?
You had said that the point can only have translative motion.
Oh, bye, very good, very good. well, you caught me in the wrong foot. Correct, you're right. See, there is a difference between telling that a particle will have translatory motion, okay, and if you keep a particle at a particular point and observe its motion. Okay. See, you understand this now very nice. Huh? I really love that answer. See, what I am saying is this is a point P, right? This is point P1, and this is say some point P2. And if you keep the particle here, yes, a particle will have translatory motion. Done. But now what I am asking is, if you look at the particle at this point, it will have a translatory velocity vector like this. Agreed?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
At the same time, you see, this particle is moving in this circle.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So if you take the velocity of this particle, it is tangential to this circle. Correct.
Yes.
Particle is tangential to that circle. But now, if you take the components of motion of this particle, okay, see, now please appreciate this. Okay, this is the VV, and I will take this point at an instant of time t. I will take this point as a reference point. Okay? Then I will mark this particle. Okay, so at an instant of time t, this particle is here. At the instant of time t plus delta t, where is this particle? After delta t? Right? If you take this as a circle, this particle is somewhere here.
Yes, sir.
P1, P2. Now you see. Now, if the particle was at P1 here and a particle and after t plus delta t it is here, then from here to here it has travelled along this curved path.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is only translated, because if you take a particle, it has only translated. Agreed, right? But now, if you see the velocity of the particle at this point, the velocity vector will be tangential to that.
Yes, sir.
That's also true, right? Now, but you will also notice that the particle has moved from here to here. At this point, the velocity vector was here, say it is v1 bar. At this point, the velocity is v2.
Yes.
So what has happened to this particle? It has travelled in an arc.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So how do you define this motion?
Curvilinear.
Yes, it's curvilinear translation.
Curvilinear.
I wanted that word. Okay, I wanted that word. It is curvilinear translation. I wanted that keyword to come there. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
That is very important.
Yes, sir.
Now you see, at an instant of time, okay, if you take this point and if you draw this line, so with respect to this, the particle is here. At the next instant, this point itself would have moved here. Correct? This point itself would have moved here. That means this line, because the particle has come here, this line will come here. So there is change in the orientation.
Yes.
There is change in the orientation, and there is also linear displacement. There is angular displacement. Whole lot of things are there on as far as the particle is concerned. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes.
So that is very important here. Curvilinear translation is the word that I wanted you to use. Fine? Good. Because see, when you said it is only translating, then I said, okay, translation means the body will only go like this. And Abhinav said, sir, it is also rotating. Now, what did Abhinav mean by rotation? He was trying to tell that the particle will also move in a circle. Okay?
Yes.
Right? But you see here, when I say particle, as your friend has rightly pointed out here, you can only have translated motion. A particle cannot have, a particle can rotate about a point. A particle can rotate about a point. Correct? Or, sorry, not rotate, you can say it revolves around a point. A body can rotate. Right? A body can rotate.
Yes.
Particle can have it can revolve around a point. Okay? So now these terms become really very important and costly for all. Very, very important for all of us and very significant. So what I want you to appreciate here is that at this point, if you had considered some particle here, this particle here, so the particle here was here, and then in due course of motion the particle came here and then it came here. Now here you see we use a concept called it is rolling. Understood now? See, it is rolling. You see my hand. It is rolling. Okay? Wait.
Yes, sir.
See, now you see now this one. Okay? If I take this spherical ball, all of you can see this spherical ball? Huh?
Yes, sir.
If I leave my hand, it is rolling. It was rolling. Okay? Now there is so and we call this as we call it rolling. Now supposing now you see the practical example here. Say you are traveling in a car and the car has gone into a slushy mud and the rada go. Your car went into a slushy mud. Rada. Okay, slushy mud. Then what did you see in the slushy mud? Slush. So the wheel was rotating. Zrrr, the wheel was rotating. But the car was not moving.
Yes, sir.
Then what is happening at this point? Now, when the wheel is rotating and the car is not moving forward, that means there is relative motion between this point and this point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then we use the word, it is skidding. Understood? It is skidding.
Yes, yes.
Now when we say rolling, so we use the concept of rolling without skidding. Rolling without skidding. That means it is performing like this. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I will still make it clear to all. Okay. Now assume that this is a road and this is a wheel. This is a wheel of radius r. Okay, this is a wheel of radius r. So I'll take this point as P. This is the I'll take this point on this wheel as P, or you can say the particle on this tire or the wheel. Okay. Now after some time, this one has come here. That is, it has rotated, and then you will see the particle P is again back. Hello. The particle is P back there. It has, see, the wheel, it was like this, it rotated and again it came here. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So now, what is this distance?
What's the question, sir?
Okay. Question is, the wheel rotated without slipping. Without slipping or skidding. Sorry, I should use the word not skidding, slipping. Without slipping, the wheel was rolling. And this particle P, see, because when it is rolling, this particle P is also moving. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
And
sir.
ultimately it has come here. Now, what is this linear distance that this has covered? D is
2 pi r. Circumference.
L, 2 pi. Got it? It is covered? It has covered? It has covered 2 pi r. Hello? Hello, I'm in the class. You please call me after 6:30. Bye. Okay. So, you see it is 2 pi r. Understood? Now just imagine. Just imagine. After rotating, this has reached 2 pi r. That means what? It is rolled without slipping. It is rolled without slipping. Okay. Now you please appreciate. Supposing this distance D, is less than 2 pi, is less than 2 pi, but still the point P has come here, what would have happened?
It has slipped.
It has slipped. All of you appreciate this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good, good. So if you want to identify that a wheel has rolled without slipping, then this condition must be satisfied. What is this condition? That d, the distance it has traveled, when it completes one complete rotation, it should be equal to 2 pi. The horizontal distance it has covered should be equal to 2 pi. Then it has rolled without slipping. Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, fine. Now, what? So, therefore, here you see there is friction. Here at this point there is friction. Okay. Now, what type of friction is this? Is it static friction, or kinetic friction?
None, sir.
Okay, somebody said none. Everybody make your opinion. Think and make. Don't guess. Use science and tell. Use science, or you see the fact here and tell. Is it static friction or kinetic friction? You apply science. See, there is friction, but there is no relative motion. Then you call it a static friction. There is friction, but there is relative motion. Then you use the concept of kinetic friction. Hi and hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But
Wait, Mr. Digade again. Cool, huh? Cool. Let me repeat. Look, cool. I got. You told me your answer. I know where you have gone wrong. I will correct. Huh? Yes. Now you see the concept of static friction. What does it say? There is friction between the two surfaces, but there is no relative motion between the two surfaces. Did you get it?
yes, sir.
Huh. But as far as the kinetic friction is concerned, there is friction between the two surfaces, but there is relative motion between the two surfaces. Got it?
Yes.
Now here you see, this is the point where at an instant there is friction, but it is not slipped. If this wheel had slipped, then you will use the concept of kinetic friction.
Yes, sir.
But if the wheel has not slipped, okay, then you use the concept of static friction.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Ligade, is that clear to you?
Sir, just one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, when it is rotating, sir, and it is not having any relative motion, sir, how can we say that, sir? That point it will change, no, sir. It will no longer be in
See,
contact with
there is a difference between, see my hand. There is a difference between, see, are you able to see my hand? See, now you see my hand. It is rolling without slipping.
Yes, sir.
Now you see. You saw? My hand slipped.
Yes, sir.
Then my hand slipped. Then there is
Yes, sir.
kinetic friction because there is relative motion between the two surfaces.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Huh.
my doubt is that point which is there, no, sir, that point of contact. So, sir, that will move, no, sir. It will no longer be in contact.
Yeah, it will no longer be in contact. But see, that point P was in contact only for the instant. See,
Yes,
if
sir.
you take delta t time, if you take even small instant of time, a t plus delta t, okay, that point is not in contact.
Yes, sir.
Supposing the point had remained in contact for t plus delta t. Understood?
Yes, sir.
T plus delta t, and the wheel is rotating, and for t plus delta t the point was in contact, then you say it is slipping.
Yes, sir.
Okay, here t plus delta t the point is not there. I mean, it is not in contact. It is moved away. Then you say it is rolling without slipping. You got it?
Yes, sir.
That is how you have to understand this particular rolling mechanism. Hello, is it clear? Yeah.
So here we have to consider friction for instance, like at a particular instant of time.
Exactly. Huh? So it comes under the category of static friction. Huh. Now another way to look at it. Another way to look at it. See now, the point of application of force or the point of force, it should have moved. The point, see now here there is frictional force created. This frictional force that is created here should have moved some distance. Okay, understand? Then also you say you will use the concept of kinetic friction. But here this point where the friction existed, it did not move. The wheel has moved. But you see, this point P was in contact with the ground for only small instant of time. And the very next instant, this point P is here. This point P in the contact with earth should have moved. Then you say it is having relative motion. Okay, now don't confuse yourself. See, you see a wheel, it is rotated. You see, each point is in contact with earth for a for an instant of time only, like this. It is not brushing against the earth. If it is brushing, then you use the concept of kinetic friction. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So you see, this invention of the wheel, okay, changed the history of motion. Okay, now because wheel was invented, then you saw lot of things actually moving. Just imagine, this was the bus and it has to move. Okay, you can make some mechanism and make it to move. Then it would have been, you would have colossal loss due to friction. Okay, now you see, you make a wheel perfectly round and you make it to move, and you use the rubber tire there and the good asphalted road, so that the wheel, as it rotates, now I repeat, its shape should not change. The shape of the wheel is now circular. As the wheel is rotating, the circularity should not change, and it should move without slipping. Then there is only static friction between the two, and the vehicle will move smoothly. There is no wear and tear. Understand? You see, usually you see that you now go and see the tire of your parents' vehicle. Okay, how will after some time, say now a tire has been put, after 6 months, 1 year or 2 years, if you see the tire, new tire and a worn out tire, what is the difference?
Sir, the ridges means the old tire will be
Flatter. Somebody.
There will be ridges in between, no sir, between the tires. They will almost become even, like one smooth layer it will become.
Abhinav is very active, he is giving suggestion. Can somebody tell me the difference between a new tire and a old tire? Very nice, nice analogy. Simple man, new tire will be like worn out. So you see, simple say, if I was there in your place, I would have told, sir, new tire is like my head, like your head. Old tire is like your head, worn out. Sap. Understood? Understood? No, it would have been sap. Why? Because it is brushing, it is, while the wheel is moving, reality I am telling you. In reality, in ideal condition, if the wheel is perfectly round and as it is moving, the wheel maintain its circularity, then there is always static friction between the two, and there will be no wear and tear in the wheel. However, if you see,
Sir, can you repeat, sir, what you said? You had
Okay. Samuhikವಾಗಿ you are getting stuck, then I'll see, as your vehicle is moving, the wheel is rotating. As the wheel is rotating, the vehicle is moving, and the wheel maintains perfect circular shape. as it is moving. Okay, and it is moving without slipping. That is, the friction between the road and the wheel is very good, and therefore you will not have any wear and tear. So the key words is, as the wheel is moving, it will maintain its circularity, right? And there is no slippage, good friction between the road and the wheel, and therefore there is no wear and tear. This is all I said. Did you capture this?
Yes.
Now, practically you see, practically you go out and see. You notice that the wheel will be slightly flat in the road. See, the rubber tube, it will be flat here when it is touching. Understand? It will not be circular here because cushioning is there.
Yes.
Understood?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I will show it to you like this. Supposing I draw the wheel and assume that it's a very good wheel, but there is a stone on the road. There is a stone on the road. Then this stone on the road, what will it do? It will make the shape of the wheel like this.
Yes.
Understood? Rubber tire man.
Yes.
Yes.
So there is a normal reaction here. Normal. Yeah. Now,
Sir, we are considering all these forces for rigid bodies, no sir?
that is there. Hey, hello. When I say rubber, is it rubber a rigid body? Why don't you hear me proper? Why don't you hear me proper? See, first when I told the wheel will maintain a perfect shape, that indirectly meant I am considering a rigid body. But if you make the tire of your vehicle out of iron or steel, then your back will break. The vehicle will be vibrating as you are going. So in order to make your travel very smooth, you will go for a rubberized wheel. But the problem with the rubberized wheel is, as it is giving you the cushioning effect, but there is some problem. You see, it encounters a stone. Then there is a reactionary force. Now, if you take the horizontal component of this reactionary force, you see this horizontal component. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes.
the vehicle is moving like this, but this horizontal component is in this direction. So this will oppose the motion. Okay. It is very complicated, because to quench your thirst, I am telling you, this is very complicated. So there is opposition. I suppose you appreciate this. Okay.
Yes.
So this opposition is opposite. See, it is a very complicated thing. But just for your brevity, I am telling you, opposition is created to the motion because of this, and this opposition we call it as rolling friction. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Supposing your wheel was very sturdy, okay, and even a stone comes also, it will not change its shape. Or there is no stone on the road, and as the wheel is moving, it's circular. Then there is no rolling friction.
Yes, sir.
Did you all appreciate and understand? Now don't do any more research on rolling friction. It is not there for your syllabus. You should just know that, yes, if the shape of the wheel, for whatever reason, if it changes while in motion, okay, then there is a horizontal component due to the change in shape which opposes the motion, and that opposition we call it as rolling friction. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. You will not have any numericals on that.
Okay. Yes,
Right?
sir. Yes.
Now hear me out very clearly. When two surfaces are in contact and there is friction, but there is no relative motion between the two, then the friction we call it as static friction.
Yes.
So rolling without slipping. Don't start reading too much into this. I am telling you. Now, if there is friction between the two surfaces and there is relative motion between the two surfaces, then you use the concept of kinetic friction.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, so now you see static friction, that is when the body just starts moving. See, static friction, okay, is less than or equal to mu into n. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, kinetic friction. Okay, I'll simply say the kinetic friction is mu k into n. But I will not use greater than or equal to. I'll say Fk is equal to mu k into n. Correct? But you see, there is relative motion between the two surfaces. Okay, and this is Fs is less than mu s into n when the body is at rest. Fs is mu s into n when the body is at rest, less than mu s into n when the body is at rest. When the body just starts moving, then Fs is equal to mu s into n. Got it?
Yes.
See, I am telling you very carefully because now they will give you some body and some slope. They will not tell you the body is moving or not moving. You have to ascertain, looking at the forces acting, whether there is relative motion or no. And if there is relative motion, is it just moving? Then you say Fs is equal to mu s into n. If it is at rest and the forces, the net force acting on the body that is tangential to the surfaces is less than mu s into n, then the body is at rest. Now, having ascertained that there is relative motion between the two bodies, then what is the friction? Then this is the formulation.
Yes, sir.
Now, supposing the body is rolling, as in this case, okay, then you will have a rolling friction, and that is equal to mu r into n. Now, what is this mu r? Okay, that is not there for the syllabus, and don't eat my head, and don't eat your own head. But I have just told you for brevity, it will be like this. Is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, sir. Mu s is the roughness of the surface, sir, or Fs, sir. Then what is mu k?
It is also roughness. It is also roughness. The same roughness.
So then,
See, listen. What? See, the other day I gave an example. Okay, roughness means what? The surface molecules. The surface molecules. I gave that example. It will be entangling like this. So when the body starts moving, the surface, the entanglement will be something like this. I had even drawn the diagram of a broomstick.
Yes, sir.
Understand? And that's it. That's all. Okay. So what happens is the roughness is still there, but the effect of the roughness will be reduced because it is in motion. Got it? That's it.
Okay.
If anybody has any question, please ask. I will now be going to the next section. Feel free, don't consider yourself as underdogs or something like that. More the discussion, better for you. Shall I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So now, having said all this, now let us come to the reality. Now, the reality is this. Say now you have a bicycle, right? Okay. So you are seated on the bicycle, right? And there is pedal here. Okay. So your legs. Okay. Something odd drawing I have done. Yeah. Cycle. So the wheel of the cycle is rotating, right? It is rotating, and this is a road. So now, as you know, this cycle is moving with uniform velocity v. I suppose all of you got this idea. Cycle is moving with uniform velocity v. Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now you are going with uniform velocity v. Now you want to take a left turn. What will you do?
Will, sir, turn the handle.
So much
Yes,
time you
yes.
need to tell. You are going on a road. You want to take left turn. What will you do?
Slowly turn the handle to the left, sir.
Turn to the left. Better word. will be,
change the angle, sir.
yeah, you say you turn the handle in what? In anti-clockwise direction. Better use the word no,
Yes, sir.
anti-clockwise direction. If you turn it anti-clockwise,
Yes, sir.
the vehicle is moving in this direction, turn it in anti-clockwise direction, then it will take a left turn. Correct now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
so that means the velocity vector, you see, this velocity vector associated with the cycle, which was say in the east direction, now will turn somewhere in the direction northeast. Supposing this is north, towards the board is north, towards this is east. So I turn it like this. So the velocity vector will turn somewhere in the direction of northeast. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Now, take 1 minute's time. Velocity vector, or you can even take the momentum vector, m into v1. Okay? Because if you take the mass of the cycle and the person together, this vector has changed. Momentum vector has changed. Correct? Now, momentum vector will change when, and if at all the momentum vector has changed here, what force caused the momentum vector to change? Now take paper, pen, analyze this, take 1 minute and tell me. I will not be here, I will take a walk and come. Take 1 minute and tell me. All of you, aram se seriously think and tell. What caused the cycle to turn? Yes, who will tell the perfect answer? What caused the momentum or the velocity vector to change? Anybody has come out with the answer? Hello? Hello friends,
Yes.
what caused the velocity vector to change? No answer.
Sir, I'm not 100% sure.
No. You should not guess. You should not guess. If you have got an answer through science, you should tell me. See, force. The cycle is moving with velocity v. The momentum is mv bar. If the momentum vector has to change, what is necessary? How will the momentum vector of the cycle change? In general, how will the momentum vector change of any body?
Net external force.
Loud and clear.
Net external force.
Yes,
should be
there should be net external force. Got it? So that is clear. Now you see that the velocity vector which was like this has now turned like this. Clear?
Yes.
That means some force must be acting in this direction. external force.
Yes, sir.
That is why this has turned. Correct? Hey, hello.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you say this is road and this is the wheel of the cycle, only one wheel I am showing you. This is the wheel of the cycle at some instant of time, and the cycle it is rolling like this. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. It is rolling like this. Now, what you did? It is rolling like this. Now you turn the handle. So what did you turn? You turned the wheel. You turn the orientation of the wheel, right?
Yes.
But what you turn the orientation of the wheel, and the wheel is still rotating. But at the same time, due to inertia of motion, what did I say? Due to inertia of motion, the cycle wants to go like this only.
Yes, 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 yes.
See,
Yes.
when the wheel is going like this, there is only static friction, which is not opposing the motion. The static friction is not opposing the motion. Got it?
Yes,
Yeah. Hello, you see the wheel is rotating. There is static friction between the wheel and the ground, and it is not opposing the motion.
yes, sir.
Now, when it is going, you turn the handle, but the momentum of the cycle wants to go like this. Now, what happened? Between the wheel and the ground, there is a tendency to skid.
Yes.
सी देखो यार न्यूटन्स लॉ अप्लाई करो, सब कुछ हो जाता है. वो साइकिल का जो मोमेंटम रहता है ना, वो इसी दिशा में रहता है. ठीक है, वो मोमेंटम क्या बोलते हैं साइकिल को? ए मैं इस दिशा में जा रहा हूँ, मैं ऐसा ही जाऊंगा, मोमेंटम वेक्टर. लेकिन आपने क्या किया इधर? वो व्हील को ऐसे घुमा दिया. सो नाउ the static friction between the wheel and the ground is now converted to kinetic friction.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? All of you understood? Now there is static friction. Now when you turn the wheel like this, the cycle wants to still go like this. So you created a kinetic friction. So the wheel and the cycle wants to now skid in this direction. But between the wheel and the ground, the frictional force will be towards me. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So the frictional force, keep quiet, Abhinav, keep quiet. You will again get it from easy. Now you see the wheel which was rolling like this, you have turned the direction. Now it's skidding. So now the direction of the skid is perpendicular to this wheel. So now immediately you should see that, but the wheel is not skidding. You have made a smooth turn.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That means some force must be acting perpendicular to the wheel. The wheel is trying to skid like this.
Yes.
And so this perpendicular force is nothing but the frictional force, kinetic frictional force. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Why did you say no?
Sir, I didn't understand that kinetic friction, sir. Last part which you.
You concentrate hard. See, if the wheel was simply rolling like this, then there is static friction between the wheel and the ground. Okay? Now, and the momentum is in this direction. Now suddenly you turn the wheel like this. So because of the momentum, the cycle wants to go like this. Now the wheel is not rolling in this direction. The wheel is rolling in this direction. The wheel is not rolling in this direction. The wheel is now having a tendency to skid in this direction because of momentum.
Sir.
Now, since it is trying to skid, that is, there is a tendency for relative motion, okay, or it is slightly skid. Then what will happen? The kinetic friction will come into picture. Kinetic friction will be perpendicular to the wheel towards the direction in which the velocity vector is changing.
Yes, sir.
That causes the change in the velocity vector.
Okay, sir.
Now, again I will make a correction. Now, if you say it has not skid, it has got a smooth turn. What did I say?
Smooth
Has
turn.
got a smooth.
Smooth turn, it has not skid. Then again you see the friction is only static friction. If the wheel had skid, see, you have seen some movies, no? The car is going like this. Oh, okay. Then suddenly they turn. Oh, the car will go like this. Arey yaar, chase and all you have
Yes,
not
sir.
seen.
Yes, sir.
Huh? So it is going like this. Then suddenly the hero or the villain, or somebody, will turn like this. Then the car, oh, it will make a sound. It will skid. Why did it skid? Why did it skid? Why did it skid? See, when you are going in a cycle and you smoothly turn, it will not skid. But supposing you are going with full speed, suddenly turn, then you will skid. I hope you have followed the cycle like that. Huh? Did you understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, if the cycle is going straight, the friction between the wheel and the ground is static friction. Point number 1. Supposing you turn the cycle to the left or right, then if it is a smooth turn, if there is no relative motion between the point on the wheel and the ground, then also it is static friction. But this static friction is perpendicular to the wheel,
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
and that makes the velocity vector to churn, while still the cycle is rolling. So you will have two static friction, one which is on the plane of the wheel, because the plane of the wheel there is static friction. There is static friction in this direction
Yes.
because the wheel is rolling. And if you have turned the wheel and the wheel is still rolling, there is static friction in the plane because the wheel is still rolling. But at the same time, it is arresting it from skidding. So there is another static friction in this direction.
Yes. Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Did you all get this idea?
Yes.
Now, supposing the wheel has skid like this, then you should use kinetic friction.
Kinetic friction. Yes. Yes.
Please, students, if anybody has any doubt, please ask. I will explain. Because you will have wonderful problems on this. Nobody is going to tell you whether it will skid or not skid, whether you should use static coefficient or kinetic coefficient. Nobody is going to tell you. You have to use the data, construct the motion, and analyze and conclude whether there is static friction or kinetic friction and which coefficient you should use. They will give both the coefficients and solve the problem. Is that clear?
Yes. Sir, here,
Ah.
it means it will.
Huh?
It means it will still cover some the same direction with the distance.
Now, you see, now let's come to the distance point. That means now the cycle is going like this and now it is going like this. Correct? Understood?
Yes, yes.
Now, supposing this is an arc of radius r. Arc of radius r. That is, it is a part of a circle. Okay? It's a part of a circle. Then you can calculate now. If this angle is theta, then this arc length will be r theta. And this distance is a d. So the total distance. What is your doubt here?
Sir, when the body skids, sir, the cycle skids.
Skids, this is a different issue. Now let's not go into the skidding issue. Skid is very complicated. We will take some particular problem and solve. We will not start assuming some data and get into some confusion. Okay. So what I want you to appreciate is, because the wheel is rolling, there is static friction tangential to the wheel. Correct? Static friction tangential to the wheel. And since it is also rotating, there is static friction which is perpendicular to the wheel. So this static friction will ensure that the wheel goes in a circular path. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, what is this static friction also called as, in this case? This one, in this case, what is it doing? What is it doing? It is keeping the cycle in the circular path.
Yes, sir.
Which force? So this becomes the centripetal force. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And this friction will ensure that, what will this friction do? What will this friction do?
It will avoid slipping.
No. See, that is not the main purpose. What
They
will
travel
this?
in straight line.
No, wrong answer. Correct. You have to tell me appropriate concept.
It will keep the body in motion, sir.
Better word.
Relative motion.
Shape. What will this friction ensure? This static friction will ensure. This will ensure that the wheel rolls without
Slipping.
slipping.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Understand? I mean, what you said is right. You keep in motion is right. But more appropriately, this friction will ensure the wheel rolls without slipping, and this friction will ensure that the direction of the motion changes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you all now convinced?
Yes. Yes, sir.
This is the mechanism of the motion of the vehicle. Okay, that's why you see a big truck, okay, laden with so many goods, say 6 to 10 tons, okay, and a small driver. Can you imagine that the driver can turn the truck? He can rotate it? No, he will only change the wheel. He should have
Yes.
strength only to change the orientation of the wheel. Rest, Newton's law will do everything. The momentum will do everything. The friction will do everything.
Yes, sir.
So this is what is called as mechanism. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Fine. Students, feel free. If you ask any doubt, I will explain. I'll explain if you have any doubt. You have any doubt? Hello?
No.
Okay, fine. See, it is 6:30. I will not tax you now. I will stop the class. But you, all of you, aram se make nice notes. There is something called banking of roads in NCERT textbook. Right? Under Newton's laws of motion. Last part of Newton's law of motion. Please, I told you to read complete Newton's laws of motion. You are not read as usual. Now at least read. See whether all the concepts I have covered there, all the points I have covered. If there is anything, mark it and bring it to me tomorrow. And what is this? This is banking of roads. Last part is there. That you read and try to understand it on your own. So tomorrow quickly I can cover that portion. Will you please do this small homework and come?
Yes, sir.
So sweet, so sweet.
Yes.